Welcome to Freedom Cage Podcast, episode 39. This is a very special 1 year anniversary on the catch up with two very special people to us. We have Ebony Lee and also DeAndra Perry. We will give you their handles in a moment. But as always, welcome to the Freedom Cage Welcome to the Freedom Cage Podcast, where we lock into a free state of mind each and every pay week on all DSPs, of course. But to my right, I got my main guy, my ace. My left and my right this week, Sean. Better known as Mr. Senior Lee on all your socials. You know. And me, I'm Kenny, man, also known as King Capnick on all those socials. But like I said a little earlier, we have two very special people with us. Miss Ebony Lee, say hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? DeAndra, Mr. Perry, say hello, please.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And as you know, it is Autism Awareness Month. If you recall, about a year ago, we happened to speak with these wonderful ladies, just to document their journey on what we're doing with the children, how we're bringing them up in today's society, and how we're pretty much leaning with the punches, making sure we get to the next round safely. You know what I mean? But as always, Sean, take it away.
Yeah, man. So it is Autism Awareness Month. So as you know, we always want to level set for our audience. We are not experts. We are simply here to share two moms' journey with their kids, what they've experienced, what they ran into. Maybe you walk away with some points, but we just want to level set. If you are tuning in right now, we are not experts. We are not clinicians. We are just having a conversation, and that's all that this is. So now we'll just get into a general definition of what we see autism to be. Do not hold this against us. All right. But I know some of you are probably tuning in like, what is autism, right? So autism or autism spectrum disorder refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech, and nonverbal communication. According to the Centers for Disease Control, autism affects an estimate of 1 in 44 children in the United States today. There are 5 major types of autism, which include Asperger's syndrome, Rett syndrome, childhood disintegrative disorder, Kanner syndrome, and pervasive developmental disorder. So that's just level setting what the general consensus of the definition is. But we're here to talk with these two moms who we had last year to pretty much see where they're at, right? It's a year since we last spoke. We talked about how the pandemic affected you. We talked about some of the stuff you've been through. So Ed, we're going to start with you. How are things going today with Carter?
Today he's fine. Especially with school. He goes to school now in person. Everything is in person now. Like if I have parent meetings, it's in person. They want to see me now, so I'm going to see the teachers because I haven't seen nobody last year. So everything is in person. They take community walks now. They get to play with the kids like together in the classroom. The only thing that's different is that since they knocked down the mandate for the mask, even in the public schools, their school, they still have to wear masks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only difference. But besides that, everything is fine. The busing is fine. Everything is cool.
Okay. And DeAndra, kind of same with you, because last year this time we was transitioning from outside to inside. So now as the year kind of went on, some mandates got rolled back, some things became a bit more lax. How has the transition been with you on your side as far as technically going back outside?
It's actually been okay for us, only because I've been working on breaking like our routines and stuff with my son. So like he's adapted to changes. Like it's easy for him to change now. He knows like, okay, I can go back to school, I can go outside. Okay, I have to be back inside because the world is sick. So I got him like accustomed to that. So now he's doing really good. He's great in school. He just had a birthday party in school. Like once they just allowed all the parents to come back in. So thank God for that. He's doing great. Like I get nothing but great news, but he still has his days where he's like, going through it. But overall, he's doing really good.
That's great, man. Happy birthday to Cam. Well, happy belated birthday to Cam.
Yes, thank you.
How old is he now?
He turned 12 and he's so tall.
Oh, you gotta get on his push-ups now. Okay, 12 now. Okay.
He be trying.
Yeah, I already know he got a little girlfriend in the class.
Oh gosh, he actually does. Oh my god.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So with Carter, we know now as he's going through the educational system, right? Do you feel like as he's starting to make steps, resources are more or less difficult to get for him?
Right now, I think the resources is more easier to get. And I've been hearing from a lot of other parents, like my coworkers, they hear me speak about autism all the time, right? Because I represent it at work. So like I have people that pull me to the side and offer me like other services that they heard from other places that I never heard from. And I actually like contacted these places and they really offer a whole bunch of resources for me, which I have to do like minimal to get stuff from this pediatrician to get. But COVID really didn't affect that. Now that everything is open, resources is available to me everywhere. I mean, not in my community, sadly, but in other places, I can get resources. So I don't have no problem with that. It's just that on my end, I have to do the footwork to get it.
Okay. And I think that's very important for anybody listening. Most of the schools, especially when we were looking for schools for my son, they're located in non-urban areas. And that's one of the biggest things that the state needs to work on is making resources more accessible for underrepresented communities.
For sure.
And to Eb's point, my son has to take a bus probably about 20, 30 minutes just to get to school so he can get the services that he needs. It's disgusting.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like before we jump back with DeAndra, granted you had to travel a bit for the school itself. Isn't it, do you want your child to get used to, I guess, long trips, so to speak, without, I guess, faces they're used to seeing every day? Can that be used as well as part of the development as far as, growing from one stage or one month to the next, just for like being comfortable in your surroundings, or it doesn't really, do you notice it at all?
Personally, it's because I don't have a choice that it's a problem.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. For any other kid, you can wait until they're going to junior high school to say, okay, you can start taking the bus or you can start taking the train. For us, from he was 3, 4, he had to get on a bus the minute he had to start school. You know what I mean? So it's never been easy for us.
Okay. And my next question I had up was DeAndra, the one we had up here. DeAndra, question for you. What are your current thoughts on us? I guess how the educational system and what their approach has been over the last year or so, and treating or how to correctly manage those with children with autism or those on the spectrum. Do you see it getting better and throughout there? Are teachers more not lenient, but more so proactive as far as almost seeing things before it happens now? Are they learning at all?
So my son, I would say he's experienced different situations from his schools, but the new school that he is in, I don't want to say it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, but his new school is amazing. I feel like the teachers are more understanding. They're more helpful. They're open to, giving me just options of getting more help with anything. And now they have like after school, and normally like they don't really have after school for children with special needs, which is actually insane to me because it's like they don't matter, like why can't they have after school? You know what I mean? So for his school to like have that, I'm like, that's amazing. So he's actually in after school. He has activities going on, extra speech classes, and we always got services, but it's like a back and forth kind of thing. But I feel like within our community, you're not going to get that. Like I'm always going super far to get everything, just like Ebony said. I think it's really sad because to me, it's like our children don't matter. And even the adults with special needs don't matter over here. And that's not fair. But I think it's like half and half. It's like they don't matter in some people's eyes, but then we have our people who are not acknowledging that there's something wrong. You know, there's a lot of kids and adults that are suffering within our area, and a lot of people don't like to speak up on it. So it's like we can't really help each other if everyone's hiding, you know, that something's wrong, you know? Yeah. So it's like tough. Like, so I'm gonna say like it's like we have help, but then again we don't, and then it's like it's hard. But for Cameron, it's getting a little better, but it's very annoying to have to travel to get extra help. I hope I answered that good for y'all.
No, that was honestly perfect because
you asked me like a few questions, so I'm trying to put it all together.
Yeah, that was layered. I apologize about that. I got to work on that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I wanted to make sure I answered it right. But his school they're really good with him, and there's a lot of teachers out here that are special needs teachers, and they're really not trained to work with our children properly. You know, like they don't understand them. So I actually experienced that before. So you can put your child in a special needs program, take them far as you want to get services, but you gotta actually hope that those people are gonna really understand your child and have patience, you know? So it's like it's a lot. It's a lot.
Do they have like not to piggyback off that, but do they have a system with special needs teachers where you could kind of get a review prior to like enrolling your child into that program? Similar to like if you needed a contractor, like there might be a Yelp review, like, hey, no, they're 5 stars doing A, B, and C. Do they have that kind of grading system for special needs? I guess practitioners or teachers that anyone's heard of as of yet?
I've never heard that for teachers. I usually get like another teacher would like recommend another teacher to me, but I've never heard of that. But I can look that up. And
I was just curious because like I know with college professors, they have a whole website dedicated to how this teacher performs, you know what I'm saying? And that's great on the college level with adults, you know what I'm saying? But for a parent letting a kid going to a school with them not being able to be with them throughout the whole course of the day, it might be good to at least have a bit of a review other than, you know, just hearsay from one person or another. But that'd be super dope. I hope someone develops that soon.
Yeah, I think because I remember before we had him in a specialized school, the elementary school we had him in, they depended on the Board of Ed to supply those teachers, right? And I mean, let's be real, the state doesn't really fund special needs programs the way it should. So it's not really an enticing field for people to get into.
Yeah, you got to love it. It's hard to just...
And then even once you get in it, I mean, the resources that you get to actually care for the kids is one thing, but then there's very few in between that the actual parents are involved. Like some of them, they just dump their kids and just leave. And they were like, especially like in 2020, a friend of mine who is a speech pathologist, she would get on the Zoom and just be there with the kid. The parents just off in the background doing whatever the hell they doing. Yeah. And, you know, the kids at that age, you got to be there with them. Like, hey, pay attention. Hey, you know, they talk about transitions, going from one activity to the next. You know, you kind of got to give them a warning and stuff like that. But the state doesn't invest in it. And if you notice lately, they're putting a lot of money into mental health services, because what I see is they're not going to really help these kids get to where they need to get scholastically and professionally, but they want to make sure they put them in places where they can be contained. You know what I mean?
It's like holding them back.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're holding them back. I don't like that.
Exactly. You know, they're spending millions of dollars, bro, on these facilities.
They don't have no time for them, no hope for them, and that's where we have to come in, you know?
Exactly.
Like it's really bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're just trying to contain the situation, not help it grow into the bigger, better thing that it should be.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Right.
That ain't good. That ain't good at all. Okay. Puts that in notes to look into. Interesting. Okay.
Did you have any luck with the teachers, Ab, when Carter first started?
No, when Carter first started, see, I had a whole situation because he was like in a home daycare, a family daycare, and the daycare basically just watched the kids. They didn't have like a curriculum to teach the kids. So when I was going through that, looking for like therapy, like when I took him to the doctor, and then we was like setting him up for therapy, I had asked the daycare, could therapy come to the daycare? They told me that they did not allow therapy to come to the daycare. Right.
Was there a real reason, or they just was just against it?
The reason was because they didn't have a isolated room for him. They will only do it on the outside, and kids might interrupt. That was their reason for not having therapy. So I'm like, all right, cool. I will have to take him out because he has to get the services that he needs. So I basically found like this pre-K school. It was kind of like a daycare / pre-K school for him. It was like for children 3 to 5, 2 to 5. They wear uniform. It's like a classroom setting. So this was before he even was diagnosed. And I was like, all right, let me take him out. This will be a good setting for him, you know. So I'm like, all right, maybe he'll do good in this school, you know, because he's doing things. The therapist was coming to the school. And that's how I kind of figured out that something was going on with him, because even the teachers in the school was complaining. And that's how I realized that they didn't have enough special education teachers, because there was no special education teachers in that school. I had put him in that school for a reason, for him to get therapy, you know, and for him to have like a structured setting. So when I had him in the school, the teachers every day was contacting me. Oh, Carter keeps running out the classroom. Carter's not really, you know, being next to the kids. And in my head, I'm thinking like,
and they were special needs teachers?
No, they're not special needs teachers. So in my head, I'm like, I said, okay, well, you know, this is why I put him in the school and he's getting therapy. So in my head, I'm like, all right, the therapist should help, you know, with that stuff, because I really don't know. Like, he's not even diagnosed yet. So I'm like, every time they're calling me, I'm like, oh, you know, it's giving me confirmation all the time. Every time they're calling me about he's not doing this, he's not doing that. So I'm like, all right. So it got to a point where me and Tyrell had to go to the school, speak to the director, because the director was even complaining. And I'm like, we had a meeting before I even put him in the school. And like, she was asking me questions like why I wanted him in the school. And I told her exactly why, you know, because he needs therapy services and I wanted to put him in a structured setting. You know, maybe I felt like maybe things would change, you know, if I put him in a structured setting, because the daycare they wasn't doing anything. So I felt like maybe that could have been the reason of why he's doing the things he's doing. But when I put him in the preschool and I've seen that it was not changing, and the things that they were saying, I was Googling, it was related to autism. So I'm like, okay, you know, it got to the point where by the time he got diagnosed, I already knew that he was going to get diagnosed. I'm like, just diagnose him so I can actually get the services that I really need to get. But at that point, I'm like, even today, I think like there's a lot of preschools that do not have special education teachers. And if they do, they are not well trained at all.
No, they're not.
And
they're not.
I feel like once your child, like there's a whole bunch of children that's small and they're entered in early intervention, you know, a lot of them. And while they're in early intervention, you're getting therapy. The child is in either daycare, you know, some type of setting, not preschool, but daycare. I feel like that they should start having special education, even in daycare settings, because they only know how to deal with typical children. You get what I'm saying? And then they think the children that do need help, something is wrong and they can't control or don't know what to do. And another thing I thought about, you know what? Maybe I should not second grade the teachers. Maybe every teacher should be trained in special education.
Yeah, they should be.
Absolutely.
Like how cops are given the basics on life, recitation and being able to hold it down until EMT gets there. Like that should also be a curriculum for teachers just to get there.
The same way we learn about other cultures. You know what I mean? We should get awareness on everything, because to your point, Eb, it's not just the teachers, it's the other kids. They need to understand not every kid is the same.
Now, granted, it may not granted, they may not be qualified to handle whatever it may be, but is there how many students are in the classes that your kids are in?
Who, me?
Oh, yeah, everyone. I'm curious.
Well, today, he's in the autism school now. So today he's in a class of 8 children.
Okay.
If he was in a general class, that's between 15 and 23.
20, yeah.
And even with the 8 kids, how many teachers or parents are dedicated to that class? Like
3.
Okay.
There's 1 teacher and there's 2 assistants.
Those are good numbers. Though, you know
what
I mean?
Like, that's the same for Cameron.
Okay, those are good numbers. That's what I was worried about. I want to make sure, like, if it was a numbers game, like if it's 1 person to 12 kids, you know, whether there's a special needs situation or not, that's just too many for 1 person to handle. You know what I mean? But if you're able to, you know, multiply those numbers, even if 1 person or 2 people isn't qualified, if the other 2 are, they can at least instruct the 2 that aren't on how to handle this situation properly. So at least if you have 1 qualified person in the group, hopefully it'll help the whole thing.
The one thing to know though is that this is a specialized school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like if you walk into the Federal Reserve, they have more than enough security to handle than like Target, right?
Correct.
Right.
What we're talking about is why the public schools and private schools aren't designing, getting the type of teachers that they need so my kid doesn't have to go to a special school.
Specialized school.
You know what I mean? So that's the one thing that, you know, with Eb talking, with work that I do in my healthcare institution, I mean, something's got to give.
Yeah, now I'm just curious to know if it's more so just a lack of availability as far as those teachers are the almighty dollar, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Like, because if I am go ahead. What are you gonna say? I'm sorry.
It's crazy because now that I'm putting him in kindergarten, right now I'm seeing all the things that's just wrong with the educational system. So like there's a Brooklyn charter school in my house, right? I have a lot of charter schools, but there's one like 2 blocks away, which is good. They wear uniforms, stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, let me just apply to the school. So I applied. It's supposed to be a lottery. So I had called, you know, just to say, you know, do you have any special need programs or anything? They're like, yeah, we have special needs. We have children with IEPs. So I'm like, okay, good. You know, Carter has an IEP. So I'm like, so what's like the classroom size? So they was like, they said, so what classroom size your child is in now? I'm like, oh, he's in the 812. And they was like, oh, we don't have those. We have a classroom with 23. So I said, 23? She's like, yeah, IEPs is in this classroom. So then I'm thinking to myself, they have to be a certain type of IEP to go to this charter school. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to be a certain type of autism. You have to have a certain type of autism to go to a certain type of school.
Yeah. Okay.
Even
you know, it's crazy that they do that.
The autism school he goes to now, they have a kindergarten right school. I tried to put him in there and he got disqualified because when he walked in, he just fell on the floor. Like he fell on the floor. So they sent me a letter talking about he was disqualified due to him not being I don't know what's the word, but he basically wasn't on the other autism children level. Like they're more alert.
Yeah, but
I guess they calling it high function. I don't even know if that's real or anything. But
no, so there are different levels. But I'm gonna be honest with you, with all of our kids, they can all have different kind of meltdowns. Like my son is older now; he's 12, and he's better. He is a lot better, and they consider him high functioning. But you know what? There are times where Cameron might really have a really bad meltdown. A meltdown could be getting on the floor, screaming, hitting, yelling. Everybody's meltdown is different, you know? So for them to say the same level, I think that's a little weird. Like they're all different in their own way. They all have autism, but they're going to always be different. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yep. I agree, man. I agree.
Another question. With the transition, I guess, from home to the social settings, do you feel they're learning better now, being more so in the social setting of the group, or was it better with the individualized at home kind of remote kind of one-on-one?
I feel like Cameron was doing good at home and better in school now because I was working from home. So I was able to really sit because, I was going to work when he was in school. I wasn't able to sit in the classroom and see every little thing that was going on. So when I was home, I was sitting on Zoom with him and I watched everything that was going on every day. And after observing everything, I knew that level that he was on in that setting, it wasn't for him. So I can understand the learning level, but behaviors, I feel like if it's not like another kid hurting each other, like, hurting one another, then that's different. But I feel like they put him in a setting to where he talks, he's verbal, So here's the thing, it's a lot. So Cameron went from being nonverbal to verbal, right? As they're progressing, you should put them in different classes with kids that are kind of on their level, but then you have to mix it a little bit because the other kid can learn from them.
Right.
Like Cameron learned from other children, he learned from me and my family and, his support team, but he learned from other children as well. So with me being home, I noticed a lot of things that I liked that I didn't like, and I expressed myself to his school. So by the time school opened again and he went to his new school, they knew where to put him because I was on it. I don't play any games. Like once I see something that I don't like, I speak up. If you don't hear me over the phone, I'm coming to the school because I'm not the parent that's going to drop my kid and leave. I need to see everything. I need to hear everything. I need to know everything that's going on because we have to prepare them for this world, like this is their time to really soak in everything. That's for all children, but for them, it's harder. So if I can, whatever I can do to help my son for the future, I'm going to do it.
I agree. Yeah.
So I just feel like after observing everything during the pandemic, I felt like I was happy that I was home to see it. And now he's on a good level. He's on a good level. He's learning a lot. Like I mentioned before earlier, his teachers are amazing. And I'm really thankful for that because you're not going to always get that. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah, it was the same over here. Like all praises to my wife, man. She knows these teachers' phone numbers. She speaks to them every day, man. You know what I mean? So when he was remote, best believe we was right there with our laptop next to him, like pay attention. The teachers would be on top of him, and they gave him a good program so he could feel like any other kid. You know what I mean? He had gym, he had music, similar to what you just said. They slowly introduced him to anything that any normal kid would get, but they did it in a way where it's tailored to his function.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? And similar to what we were talking about with the high function and low function, and there's still people, there's still people who deserve services, who deserve the opportunity to live a life like anybody else. And it's time to stop telling them that they need to change for society. Society needs to change for them.
And I say that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off topic, but I just have to speak on what you just said. It's like it's hard. People act like it's hard to be kind and compassionate. Like it's like a big issue for them. And that bothers me because when I start to speak on this, it comes off as if I'm being like a forceful mom or a forceful advocate, but I'm not trying to force anything, but it's just me getting the word out there. Like, why is it so hard for the world to be kind and understanding and to be aware of people with special needs? Like, well, what is so hard about that?
It's funny. Unfortunately, a lot of adults still can't read the room, so to speak. They still don't understand when compassion is needed versus when it's not required. And if they always have that in their head, like, hey, I'm just here, it's a job, it's a check, and they kind of just dismiss the entire, putting my heart into what I love thing, it's going to be a weird dynamic the entire ride. Because not that they don't care, but you can tell when someone doesn't care, and it's hard to put a loved one in someone else's tutelage that you know deep inside they really don't care. Like I wouldn't have the courage to even drop off with knowing even an inkling of that. You know what I mean? So it really comes down to that. You got to read the space that you're in and understand it and how to adapt to it. If they don't have the ability to adapt, then you're already hurting my child. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's but that comes down to the help. Like if the help isn't helpful, fuck you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and if you look at 2020, man, I mean, that was the perfect example of, you know, never letting a crisis go to waste.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you look at when you got COVID, you got to feel what it was like to be excluded,
mm-hmm.
isolated,
yes,
treated
yes,
differently.
and I had COVID.
Yeah,
yes.
me too. You know what I mean? The minute you
know, you didn't even want to tell nobody. It's just like, oh my God, like, yeah, like
the fear of judgment. Like, I missed out on the Father's Day activities. I missed out on everything.
Oh my,
you know what I mean? But it put things. I mean, I already had a certain perspective, but it took my perspective to another level. That all right, number one, thank God I'm taking care of myself, but number two, I need to be thankful for even being able to be out here and have a regular function in life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because in one little snap, it could be something different. And then it really just supposedly was supposed to change everybody's mindset. And if you look at even the services that they were given, like a lot of shit has changed. Your requirements to become a doctor, your requirements to be a nurse. Who did we depend on? The front line. You know what I mean? The people who we consider low skill workers, you know, were the ones that we depended on. I mean, come on now.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And I want to bring back the video because DeAndra shared this and it blew my mind. It was a kid with special needs that was in what was it, Best
Walmart?
Buy?
Was it? Oh, Best Buy.
Best Buy.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it was Best Buy. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did not know how to deal. You know what I mean? How to deal with the situation.
It was like foreign to them.
Yeah,
like they've never been outside of a situation that wasn't perfect in their life. It was weird.
And just the way they.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about it, DeAndra. I know you shared it.
Yes, I shared it. I also took it down because it was like disturbing to me because I put it on my son's page and, you know, his page is more of like a happy, like progressing kind of page. So I didn't want to like keep that there for too long, but I put it there for awareness because this can happen any day, anywhere, at any time. You understand? And I feel like as adults, whether someone has special needs or not, if you see a kid doing that, you should try to help the kid. Okay, so I'm going to say that first. I'm going to put special needs aside. Like, if we're all adults, instead of getting all angry and rude, you know, and talking crazy, how about we figure out what's wrong and help this kid get down and then see what the problem is? Because everybody doesn't know what autism is. That's number one. They don't know what that is. And that's understandable because I didn't even know what it was, you know, when my son was diagnosed in the beginning. So I understand that part. But once you've seen that he had these behaviors, it would make me wonder. Like, I don't expect everybody to think the same, but I just feel like a woman and a mom with common sense, if I see a child, you know, behaving that way, it's going to make me wonder, like, something's wrong. But the first thing I'm going to think is, let's help this kid. Let's all get together and try to help him get down. You know what I mean? They were shouting at him. They were screaming, laughing, pointing, you're recording. All of that, wrong. First of all, I'm not recording nobody's kid. That's what I'm not doing. So that's the world we live in now, where they're recording every little thing. But I'm happy they recorded it because I shared it and it helped somebody learn the behaviors of autism, you know? But just watching it, it was so disturbing. It really hurt me how the people in the store were like so rude and they weren't compassionate, you know? It's like, try to understand what's wrong with this kid. And then with them screaming and just being aggressive with him a little bit, like it was actually triggering him. And they didn't know that because they're not aware of what autism is, you know? Like he could have had a seizure or something, or he could have did something else that would have got him hurt, you know? So like, this is why awareness is so important. And that's why, you know, me and Ebony, you know, we go hard to spread awareness, but I feel like it's not enough, but it's up to the world to adapt to it, to try to understand it. If we could read lyrics and watch a bunch of shows and try to figure that out all the time, why can't we learn about this?
I think the difficult part with that, as far as an outsider, if they are just unknowing to what autism is, period, it's hard for them to decipher what a child with a problem is versus a problem child. So if they do see anything that's out of the ordinary, they throw it directly into that problem child category and try to reduce, diminish, resolve, solve the problem as quick as possible just to get to the other side of it, versus meeting it head on, seeing what the issue is. Maybe a hug would work, maybe physical touch won't work, but at least letting that be in one of your first steps of trying to calm the situation down. I think everybody's just too quick to judgment to go, oh God, there's got to be a problem. I mean, like, this is a problem child. You know what I mean? So let's just push him to the side.
Yeah, it's always the first word is this kid is bad, or
yeah,
you know, they need to be beat. It's always they need to be beat.
That's the issue, honestly. Everyone's quick to judgment. No one wants to understand an issue. Everybody's going to the back of the book to see the cliff notes instead of opening the fucking first page and seeing what the intro is about. No one has time for that. Everything snap, now, go. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to slow down and smell the fucking roses. If there's an issue at hand, take care of it. Take care of it in front of you. But like you saying, like you guys were saying earlier, like some people aren't built or have that compassion to see the other side of it. When all you see is that one side of, this is causing an issue because there's water on the floor, versus, yo, let's get the paper towels, let's fix the issue. You know what I mean? People don't. It's hard to teach that. It's honestly, it comes down almost, not that it's a common sense thing, but everybody was raised different, and us, unfortunately, in this group, we were all raised to have that compassion side in us to see where the problems come on versus just identifying that it is a problem. And like, granted, we see that, but now that we know it, let's fix it correctly, and let's not just, throw it to the fire and see if it burns or not. It's not a solution.
Yeah, and it doesn't just have to even be autism, and it's just knowing the difference between equal versus equity.
Correct. Very true.
Saying like, I may want my water with ice. I may want it in a cup instead of a bottle. Like, you understand, every person you interact, every situation that you see, it does not warrant the same thing. And I love what they've been sharing lately on social media about how school was the problem. Because school told you there was one way to do things, one answer.
It's not.
But then you get to work and there's multiple different things and multiple different ways for you to handle things. But your body, and you just said it perfectly, your brain's not trained for that. You know what I mean? Whether it was your own personal upbringing, you know what I mean, or it was school experiences with friends, you're trying to navigate that, and you're doing it in your own way. And I know, it just speaking to you two ladies, how many times have you had someone try to tell you how to do things as you've gone through this process with your kid? And Elba, I'll go to you first.
You felt the exhale.
Go on, Eb, go first.
All right, hold on. Give me my headphones just died.
Awkward.
Ebony, come back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I had a lot of parents that's really not in my shoes tell me how to do things. And at first I got really, really upset because, I didn't know how to
tell them fuck off professionally.
Right. I didn't want to like what's going on today currently. Like, Carter's almost 5. Potty training. And then I have friends that I talk to. Oh, he's not potty trained yet. And they'll say it like that. He's not potty trained yet, as if he's supposed to be potty trained. And I don't want to come off rude. I just say, no, he does have autism. It's a delay. He'll get there. And it's like, especially with people that's close to you. And I was just showing about this not too long ago. People that's close to you, right? And you feel like these people supposed to know, like,
they should get it, and they still don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you talk to them about the things that's going on with your life. You post things all the time. And these are your friends and family that you are with. And you expect them, like, I love Ed, I love DeAndra. Let's see what this is about.
Right.
But I don't get that. I get as if I don't post nothing or I don't actually tell you. It's like, are you listening? Like,
And I don't know what to separate. Like, are you really listening to me? Like, are you really my friend?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah. With friends that have kids, I don't get let's go out on a play date. Let's do certain things. And I would, and I extend myself. You know what I'm saying? Like on my page, who wants to do this? I just posted who wants to go on the Easter egg hunt. Like so. I could have people to play with my son,
Mm-hmm.
You would think a friend would be like, oh, let's go Friday.
Right.
Let's do certain things. Like I just had a situation at a party. My friend invited me to Dave and Buster's. I went. I knew that Carter could not play most of the games there because I went to a similar place like that, and all he wanted to do was run around. He didn't want to get on motorcycles, no car racing games. He just wanted to run. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to extend my support, for her son or whatever. So when I got there, the kids were sitting down where there was food. I guess they was about to eat. This friend that I speak to all the time, I'm like, she's like, you do Carter want something to eat? And I was like, no, he's not. He's not going to eat nothing. So I end up, getting fries. I knew he wasn't going to eat it, but, I just got it anyway.
Play the game, yeah.
Yeah, maybe today may be the day, right?
You never know, right?
He didn't want it, so I'm like, all right. But I got kind of emotional out the day because then all the kids had went to play. And I was basically with Carter running around, and the other moms was just at another table having drinks. And I was just sitting there like, and then by the time I left, I just thought to myself, like, I didn't want to do that to myself anymore. Like, I don't want to be in a place where I feel so uncomfortable.
Right.
Like segregated almost.
Yeah, like not being able to, I mean, even though I know my position, that's what I'm trying to get, knowing my position. Some things I won't be able to do. And I was speaking to another mom and they just told me, it's fine to feel that way.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Bring a gift and leave. If, just,
show face, shake hands. It's been great.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was just so like, that really hurted me. Like I had a little sore spot because I'm like,
no, it's your child. You love them, so you know you're gonna do everything and anything. But when everybody else in the circle doesn't,
even though in my head I know he couldn't do that, I'm still the person to be like, maybe he'll get on today. Maybe show him some other stuff. Like I don't be wanting to take that away, even though in my mind I know that he may not do it. I just be to do everything because maybe give him a chance to do what the other can.
You have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is. I've been having a lot of issues with parents trying to tell me what to do with my child, and they not in the same predicament that I am in, and it's like very hard to, to tell them that because it's like they really don't get it.
Okay.
What about you, DeAndra? You sound. I heard that when I finished the question.
I'm over here like, yes, girl.
This is the one.
No. So, well, first, I just want to address what Ebony said. Like, I don't want you to feel like you're alone. That's why I always tell you, you could always text me at any time or whatever. I don't care if you text me and be like, hey, I'm really down right now because I'm here at this party and, this is going on. Like, I'll text you, get you motivated, pumped, make you feel good because I was in your shoes. Okay. When Cameron was smaller, I still go through it now. I mentioned something like that in my book. Like, it's really hard to sit there and watch other people with their children and they're playing, and we got to sit with our kids and monitor their every move because we don't know what's going to happen. Then they can't even play with other kids. Like, that's hurtful. And then it's like every time we're out, we always have to explain what's wrong with our child. It's tiring, like, why can't we just come to the park and our kids play without us saying, hey, he has special needs, so this and that. Like, it's like a whole story that you have to explain every single time. and it's draining. But I'm gonna switch back to people telling you what to do with your kids. So, because I can get all over the place with autism because it makes you emotional. Yeah. It's like you have so much inside of you that you want to vent and say that you hold in because people don't understand you. And honestly, I hold a lot in, and I try to turn my anger into something positive because I have to be positive and strong for my son. I'm his voice. I'm his everything. Okay. I'm his everything, and energy is very important. So with me, when it comes to people telling me what to do with my son, I used to get very angry and I would like lash out, but I changed because honestly, certain things they did tell me, depending on who the person was, it was helpful, because sometimes you can get sucked into the autism world. So it's like everything you do when you're catering to your child's needs, it's like on a baby level, right? Yeah. And sometimes you have to treat them like a normal kid to help them progress. So I had to hear that from family members and friends. And they had to like tell me like, maybe you should talk to him this way because this might help him or say these words. So those people who helped in those kind of ways, that actually helped me. But when you have people who are constantly telling you all these different things when it comes to discipline and just like just anything, and they're like way off, you're looking at them like you're not in my shoes. Like you don't understand. We have to fill out a bunch of paperwork weekly for school systems. We have to look for services weekly, monthly. Like we can't just send our child to school and it's like an after school program and they come home and they go to daycare. I'm not saying that normal parents don't have to worry because every parent has to worry, but we have so much more on us. You understand?
You guys got it times two, like
yes, and people don't understand that, and it's not us trying to take anything away from other parents because just having a child, period, is a lot. But when you have a child with special needs, it is a lot, and it's it's moments of us going through our emotional moments. We're hurt, we're lost, we're confused because they're changing weekly. My son changes weekly. I learned something new with him every week. Yeah. It's a lot to take in, and you can't really speak on something that you're not dealing with. You can't do that.
Absolutely. Now, I understand you. It sounds like, granted, you're getting, I guess, words of air quotes encouragement from people you do know versus people you don't know, trying to better your situation that they have no need or know about. But are there groups for parents, like whether it be like a Facebook group, Reddit group, with everyone in the know, and that can have that conversation on a professional level, as far as I know exactly what you're going through and this is what I did to get to the next phase? That does exist, right? Some sort of forum, though?
Well, it does. I actually was in a group. I think once the pandemic happened, it kind of like stopped a little bit because everybody was really going through a lot. But oh God, I don't think she does it anymore. But I was thinking of starting something like that. I'm always open to doing that, but I have such like a busy schedule. Kinda. Yeah, because let me tell you something. When she had that support group, it helped me. I wasn't always on, but the times I was on, it's like you could just vent and they're not going to judge you. Everybody understands what you're saying. You can mention the whole potty training thing and they're already like, girl, I'm going through it over here too. My son is 7 and he's still learning how to wipe his butt or, using the bathroom or whatever it is. Like I still have to help Cameron. He's 12, he's tall, he's big. When you look at him, you're going to be like, wow, you still help him with tying the shoes or in the shower? Yes, I do. And I'm not ashamed of that. This is what they have to go through. And that's what people don't understand, but he's gotten to a point where he can get in the shower and wash up on his own, but I still have to help him with a lot of things. So when it comes to the support group, I feel like it's needed. And, if I can make it happen, or Ebony, if you can, then let's do it, because I feel like you're still new. Carter's 5, he's still small. And I've been through that whole stage that you've been through. When I was in your shoes, listening to the moms that had the 12-year-olds and the 16-year-olds, and I soaked in everything that they said, and I learned so much from them. But when it's the beginning stages, it can be really, really hard. It can be very hard because he's so small, and you just want him to play with the little kids, and you want that normal play date. Like it's a lot of normal things that we want for our children. Living with limits it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's really a lot. And it can be depressing. It can really drive you insane. But I thank God for strength and my support system, because it's a lot.
And that was I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I definitely think the support groups are good. But I really feel where Eb is coming from, because they say it takes a village, but it's crazy when the village just ain't trying to understand.
They ain't trying to understand.
You know what I mean? And
wrong
listening.
Village, man.
Yeah.
You gotta go find a better village.
And it's like listening.
No, you're right. Wait, can I speak on that? You know what, Eb? I had to cut some people off. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I had to cut off some family members and some friends. And I don't feel bad about it. It's about our kids. You understand?
Right.
We put our kids first, and that's it. If they can't understand what our children are going through, that's their problem. Yeah. Okay? But just know you're going to have people that's going to support you. But I know how you feel when there's certain people that you expect to be there for you, and they're not. You don't expect them to be in your shoes, but it's like, you don't understand a little, or can you be a little more supportive? Can I get a text like, hey, are you okay? Or, hey, you know what? Have my kid play with your kid. They'll be okay. Like, you understand? I had a best friend. We're not friends anymore, but she had 4 kids. And let me tell you something. They were all normal. And once they were around my son and I explained to them what was wrong when he was younger, they just was playing with him. I didn't have to keep explaining everything. They knew that something was wrong, and they knew that if he was doing something to where it looked like he needed help, they would help him. I was so thankful for that, okay? There's times where I take my son to Long Island City, and he's playing in a park, and the kids are so sweet to him. They're so sweet to him. But then you got kids that's not going to understand him. But that can happen with normal kids too. Kids are not nice. Kids are really not nice. Like, they're not nice. Like, they're mean, but like, it's hard. So I don't want you to feel like you're alone. And once again, like, if you ever want to text me, please text me. Call me, whatever it is that you want to do. Like, I'm here for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that support group.
Because I
really like to do the support group. I'm in 2 support groups.
Yeah, we can do that. Oh, you're in one?
Well, it's a huge support group though. It's like I have 2 support groups on Facebook.
Okay.
But I really can't find nobody that's in my city. That's the issue. Like,
oh my God,
there's a whole bunch, because that's why I say it's a big range. Like, it's like people from everywhere. It's a whole bunch of autism moms from every state, and then one of the autism groups, they kind of like separated. They had a little another page, and they was they had different states, and you had to check in under your state. I never got nothing from my state. I never got nothing.
Oh my gosh, the only one in New York.
And honestly, that probably just comes down to just like the word not being out about it, because you're not the only one.
That's
you know
crazy.
What I mean?
Right. I never got nothing from my state, but I do see other people under, like, oh, I'm in Georgia, I'm in Texas. If anybody need anything, I'll come by, I'll babysit, I'll even watch your kids for you to go to the supermarket, things like that.
Wow.
That's a little too nice, but I hear you.
When I look at it,
said that's too nice.
But some people
wait a minute now. If we need a sitter, you're gonna watch our kids.
Call me.
They got respite.
Kids. I'm gonna call you.
Yeah, I love kids, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I love kids too, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah, they got respite care. So basically there is a program where if you have a kid that needs special care, they will watch your kids. So I have friends that, they have kids who are low functioning, right? So if they ever they can't go out because they can't leave their kid with anybody. So they actually have a program where you can leave your kid. So if you want to go out, they will actually watch your kid for you. So,
really?
Yeah.
My friend has that. She has that, but the lady, like, now she like works for her, like she's there like every day.
Yeah, that's a living nanny.
Yeah, she's a living nanny.
Okay.
I need that too.
But just revisiting the village thing though, because listening across the board, even outside of autism, most people don't listen. You know what I mean? I've had to come to grips with that for years, because naturally when you try and tell people how you feeling, they're so quick to talk. You know, they're listening to respond instead to understand. You know what I mean?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
No, don't laugh.
No, because
let us know when you're good.
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, my AirPods were dying.
That's all good.
Stop laughing at me. Good. Can you hear me though?
All that shit to Ab. That's so.
What?
You talking all that crap.
But yeah, it's very tough to get people to listen. So now the village don't understand. The village don't want to listen. And I agree with you, DeAndra. It got to the point where I wasn't gonna keep my son from any events because kids didn't want to play with him. I came in knowing that I'm just going to be playing with my son for this entire event until we leave, because he's not going to miss any experiences just because these kids don't understand him, and then the parents, they're too busy watching their own kids, or they're too busy not watching their kids, right? So me and my wife would just go in and tag you in. You know what I mean? We just knew it was going to be that until we got to that one event where he started, progressing. You know what I mean? He started understanding what was going on around him. But, I think you're both saying it. You have to still give them those experiences, because you never know. Like you said, you never know. One day you may wake up and Carter's just like, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, he will surprise you. Trust me.
Yeah. And you hear the progression, like you hear it from just them trying to mouth the word, trying to, just the pointing. Like there was situations where Darius would just look at us and we didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? But so
that was Cameron.
Yeah, you gotta trust in yourself and say, you know what? I'm gonna still expose my kid to where they gotta go. And if you ain't about that, if you ain't trying to be about the village, then leave
my village.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. And the last thing I'll say though is, DeAndra, I'm the same as you. Eb knows she can call me. She can text. Eb know that. Eb's issue is these people who are around that don't want to be that person.
Right.
And they're supposed to be her people. Like they're supposed to be family and friends.
And she's looking for that in them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's the problem. Listen, we all go through that, but that's hurtful. That's really hurtful. Like, it's like you have this bond with that person. You just want them to support you and be there for you. So I get where she's coming from, but I mean, you got to let certain people go, and it's okay.
Yeah, straight
up. Okay. Like, and another thing I'll say, just to add personally, or whoever may be listening, but if you are looking for someone specifically that you thought would be there, and you did your best to explain it that one time, and they just don't get it, like DeAndra just said, like Sean just said, you just got to cut ties with them and move on. You know what I'm saying? But do understand, like, like a closed mouth won't get fed, so to speak. You can't expect everyone in your circle to be a psychic in that sense. Like if you did want assistance or helping, whether it be one thing or another, like if you don't say anything, unfortunately, everyone just assumes everything's perfect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, everyone's going through things, but we all fall into that habit. When you come into work, you may ask, yo, how's your weekend? 52% of yourself kind of care how their weekend was, but you leaning on a 48. You know what I mean? You just on some how's your week. You really just hope them, just really honest, just hope for them to just say, yo, weekend was good, weather was great, how are you? You want to reply with the same thing, yo, it rained on my side a little bit, but we made it through. You know what I'm saying? Right. People kind of just want that quick answer, but you also got to explain to certain people, like, it's okay to develop a little bit more from just that quick answer. When you go, yo, how was your weekend? There's some people at your job you got a connection with. They go like, yo, let me tell you about my Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And you there, you ready to interact and have that conversation with them. Right? Because you had that conversation of comfort beforehand. So just try to get into the habit of, not that you shouldn't be quick to cut people off, because I can't talk. I cut people off frequently. But
rude.
If you are looking for someone specifically to do something or to step up their role in your life as it pertains to this situation, try to have that one-on-one with them, like real straight up one-on, see where that goes. And if there's no solution to that, you did your part. You know what I'm saying? You can't bring everybody on this ride with you. You know what I'm saying? So, but at least do your part, do your diligence, put your word out. If no one responds to that word appropriately, you did what you had to do. Now there's no regret, no harm, no foul. And if they call you back 2-3 weeks later, yo, what happened? It's like, we spoke. You didn't speak back.
I said what I said.
You didn't speak back. So I'm about to go speak to somebody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay. Like, as we get older, as we grow, it's okay to grow. Like, and you're supposed to. And everybody can't grow with you. And it's not their fault. It's not your fault. But hey, we do understand that 2 wrongs don't make a right. So I'm gonna take my right and move on. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. Right. It's okay. But always let that person or whoever you are thinking about, try to get that out to them. Let them know how you truly feel about the situation. Don't just assume everybody knows how you feel because you may post something. Yeah, you got to express that. You got to be vocal about that.
Okay. You should have a one-on-one, really express to them, you know, that you're hurt and you just want support. Like, and you don't expect them to be in your shoes because they're not. But, you know, just a little support. Like, I always express myself, girl. Once you start doing it, you're just going to see who's there for you and who's not.
Yeah.
Don't save all your good questions for therapy. Ask whoever it is that same question. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they might surprise you with an answer. You know what I mean? But if you keep all your good therapy questions to yourself and just wait till you see your therapist, they're going to give you the therapist answer. Sometimes you want a real answer on a real question. It's okay to ask those questions to people that you know and love. You might be surprised one day.
Yeah.
5K?
Oh yeah. So Eb, I know you got tickets to the NYPD 5K autism walk. Want to talk about that?
Yeah. Okay, so one of my coworkers, her son is on the spectrum as well. And she worked for school safety. So last year she invited me to the autism walk. It's their first annual in Cunningham Park. This year will be their second annual. And it's a 5-mile walk. They also have like different vendors where they sell like autism paintings, or they have a school there. They have Birch. Birch is a vendor there. They give like, you know, different resources and things like that. They have other vendors that sell food, you know, so you can eat. Every time you go around, they give you like a colorful necklace. They have like different games for the kids to play. You win a basketball, you win like gift bags and stuff. But if anyone wants to walk, they can go on Eventbrite and put in 5K walk in Cunningham Park, Queens. Okay. It's April 23rd, Saturday.
Oh yeah, the end of the month.
Yeah, it's at 10 o'clock. Okay. From 10 to 2 is a little, you know, longer if they have, you know, different events going on. I know when I went, it was from 10 to 2. So I'm going this year.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully I can make it as long as my schedule's open.
You're going to one also, right? The next day?
Yeah, I think, was it the day before? I gotta look at my calendar. I can't remember.
And that's crazy too. I can't really find a lot of before my coworker even sent me that one, I was looking for other ones and I couldn't really find a lot of autism walks.
I think after the pandemic, it's not like so heavy anymore, but it's probably kicking back because before it was a lot. It was a lot. Like even I had my walks, but I stopped because I wasn't working well with my community because I don't feel like they really understood autism. But overall, there were a lot of walks. So I feel like the pandemic kind of like, you know, slowed everything down.
Yeah.
Side question for the group. Throughout the conversation, I heard everyone say high functioning and low functioning. Are there middle tiers there as well, or is just those two extremes, like where there's either high functioning or low functioning? There's no middle ground. There's like no middle levels or on the way up or on the way down. It's just A or B, and that's it.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's more along the clinical side.
Oh, my bad.
Listen now, I ain't no doctor.
My bad, y'all. Apologies. I slipped up.
No, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really feel like you really don't know until your child progresses. Like, you know, they could diagnose them when they're younger, and then they could just change when they get older. That was Cameron. So it's like you won't know it until they just keep growing and you just keep helping them and they're just adapting to things and you're exposing them to things and helping them and giving them all the services. You won't know until they start to progress, and you just see the difference. But they do label them the way that they want to. So that's what they do on their end.
Yeah, and it's really tied, I think, you know how the state is, right? They got to report on stuff. They like metrics. They like categories. You know, if anybody knows that, is, you know, Black people know we need statuses and classifications.
Right.
But to DeAndra's point, you pretty much just go through the process. And one thing I always tell people, because, you know, I have friends who their kids aren't really making any progress. And I'm like, it's a process. You know what I mean? You got to stick with it. You got to make sure you're on top of your services. You got to make sure you stay involved with your kid, because it's going to be a journey. Listen to DeAndra, her kid's 12 and she still has to do things for him.
You can't expect instant gratification because you did a good task today. You know what I mean?
Darius is 9. He's getting older. He's probably still going to need help until he's a grown man. Like, we are invested in him and his process. We're not looking about high or low functioning spectrum and all of that. We are invested in the process. We're invested in his resources. And anybody listening, if you do the same, you know, you'll get the best experience for your kid. I'm not going to say it's going to work out and things are going to get better, because I don't know what that may look like for you. You know what I mean? Success is different for all of us, right?
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if society starts to make the right changes so that every kid, no matter what they're going through, what they're living with, can have the same resources, then you're set.
That's all it is. That's all it comes down to. Just like common sense being applied into the right place, man. I'm telling you. I'm sorry, DeAndra, I know you mentioned something about a book earlier.
Oh yes, I have a children's book. It's about Cameron, but even though I speak about Cameron and him being in his world, it's called Cam's World. 90% of it is really like what most people with autism do. And notice I said people, because it's not just children, it's adults too. Like there are autistic adults. I'm sorry. There are adults with autism who still behave like children. So it's really for everyone. But in the book, it's a few things that Cameron does. It's just the things that he likes. But I wrote that book just to make a difference and to bring awareness and to help children understand that being different is okay. And to try to teach them that, you know, being kind is cool. Because we have like a lot of bullying going on now. It's like to the point where kids are killing themselves. Like, it's getting really bad. Like, bad. So I'm not saying that this book could change the whole world, but I hope that it can make some kind of difference.
I believe it's meant to educate, as always.
Yes.
And just bring light to a subject that everyone may or may not know about. And even if they do know about it, they'll find out a new wrinkle of it through your book. So I wouldn't, hold it in high regard, but it's always a teaching tool. That's what books are for. Like, you're not going to just, it's not a paperweight. Open it, read it, digest it, understand what the hell it said, you know what I mean, and be able to talk about it with another person and inform them on what you learned. And that's half the goal, you know what I mean? But as long as your book is out there and people are able to access it, you did your part, you know what I mean? You got the word out.
Yes, thank you.
That's a hell of an accomplishment, man.
Facts.
We got a live Black author.
Yes. I'm just so upset because I launched it during the pandemic. So like, that's when everyone was really going through it. So I feel like it's not where it needs to be, but I'm still going to make sure it gets to where it needs to be, because I'm really like strong on making a difference. Like I've been this way before I had a child with special needs, like I'm just a compassionate person. So for me, like, this is nothing for me. Like, I'm not shy, I'm open, I can speak my mind, I can speak from the heart. Like, this is nothing for me. So I'm going to make sure it gets to where it needs to be, but I hope that it can make a difference in this world and just help out, the kids that are on the spectrum and the kids that are not on the spectrum, and even adults. It can help them because, like I said before, everyone doesn't know what autism is.
Yeah,
Gotta teach them. Gotta teach them.
Yeah, because you hope that there's more pipelines. And I'm glad you brought that up. That, our apologies for not making this more general as far as, who could be on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. You wish there were more pipelines in companies for people living with disabilities. Mm. You know what I mean? We have people who are able to perform jobs, but you have to have, number one, awareness of the employees that already work there about working with someone living with disabilities. And also you got to have a direct pipeline for them to go through a program so they can get a job that, they can just live a normal life like anybody else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
They should get taxes taken out of their check just like I do. You know what I mean? Like they should go through the same thing. They should have a boss they can't stand. Like, let them have the normal experiences like any other person out here. We're doing it for so many other people. We need to do it for them too.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
I agree. That's probably my last question as far as granted you want your children to always have the best outbringing, but as a parent, as one who cares, as one who loves, like, is there ever a point where you kind of let go of the need to coddle? Like, you know what I mean? When do you like you always love your kid. Your baby will always be your baby, no matter how big they get, how old they get. It always, you know what I mean? It's your child. You know what I mean? So what is there will there ever be a point where you kind of just you'll never let go, but like trying to think of the best phrase for it as far as almost letting their wings spread to some extent and not without the leash from you? Is there ever, do you think you'll ever be to that level where you'll ever truly be comfortable, even with all that progression? Anyone?
Yeah. I actually suffer with that daily. Yeah. Okay. Like I have anxiety. No, I have really bad anxiety, but I'm speaking for other parents as well. Like they go through this, and I'm probably speaking for you guys too. Like it's hard because you don't know what's going to happen when they get older, So every day I think to myself, I can't leave this earth. If I leave this earth, what's going to happen? Like, who's going to love my kid and take care of him the way that I take care of him? Somebody's going to bully him. They're going to hurt him. They're going to take advantage of him. I think of the worst things every single day. I've gotten better with my anxiety, but honestly, I have these thoughts in the back of my head every single day. Like it actually affects my health because I'm that scared. But I would love to see my son go off on his own and be independent. I would love that. That's why I'm helping him the best way that I can, but you don't know what's going to happen,
Is anyone ready for when their child does act to that independence? Are you willing to give that up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Y'all all look at me and say, shit, let me tell you something about my baby.
You know what it is for me, man? It's just a strong faith in him and what I'm doing with what me and my wife are doing with him now. Just trying to instill in him, what are the basic survival needs that you have, right? Like, it starts, of course, he's young, so it starts with making his own bowl of cereal. Can he warm up his food? Can he make a plate for himself? Can he pour his own juice, right? Then, okay, do you know where you live? Right? If you were lost anyway, would you be able to at least tell somebody where you live? Can you communicate that clearly? I have to have faith in that, because if I didn't, and it's fine, right? Well, what DeAndra said is fine too. If you're in a place where I'm not ready, that is perfectly fine. For me, I have to train my mind like that now to be able to really do that. And that's why I've just been training my mind that at some point, this boy that couldn't even vocalize himself at one point is going to tell me, Dad, I need to get my own place. And inside, I'm going to be a wreck. I'm going to be like, who do you think you are with that bass talking back to me?
I just want y'all to be prepared, because y'all are all doing the proper and correct steps to get them where they're going to go. And I just don't want y'all to be scared or nervous.
Not my wife, I can't speak for.
Okay.
That's a whole.
That's a whole.
She's probably like, hold on now.
Yeah, she probably in the other room like, he lying. That boy ain't going nowhere.
No. You know what's crazy? Can I mention one thing? My son now, even though he's 12, he says to me, Mom, you don't have to hold my hand. I'm getting older. Mom, you don't have to play with me in the park. I'm getting older. Because I told you guys earlier, I kind of still treat him like a baby. And it's not that I want him to be a baby. It's just me so focused on catering to the needs and, you know, just making him feel good. And I just want him to know that I'm there for him, you know, and that I'm not treating him different, you know, from everybody else, or I'm not ashamed of him. So it becomes the baby behavior that I'm still working on. And even when we have an anxiety, I help him with his independence. So even though I'm scared, I'm still working with him so he can get to that point. But he's older now. He's like, Mom, please do not take me to school. I want to go on the bus with my friends. But he's talking about the cheese bus, not the actual city bus. Right. But he's like, I need my space away from you because you're driving me crazy.
Damn. 12?
You're on the slides with me. You're on the swings with me. I need you to back off. I'm like, okay.
And that's what I was trying to get y'all, ready and prepared for, because y'all doing 100% and beyond, just to make sure they get where they got to go,
right?
Keep that rocket ship going up. But at some point, they're gonna let go of your training wheels. I just
y'all
gotta be ready to let go, because all your hard work will pay off. It may not gonna be tomorrow, but all your hard work, dedication, time, effort, blood, sweat, tears will pay off that day. And when that day comes, be prepared, man, because y'all gonna bust some tears. I can see it in your faces right now. But
I'll come to you and I'm gonna cry.
That's cool. That's cool. We give out hugs here at FCP. We give out hugs at the FCP. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But be prepared, because that day is gonna come sooner than you think. But it will be here.
What about you, Ev?
I think I'll be fine.
Wow.
He's 4, but I've been doing exactly what DeAndra said. Like, I be trying not to focus on the needs and try to give him some independence. Like, I started off with the potty training, right? Once I found that he knew to go to the potty, like, because I do the naked method, he go to the potty. I'm like, all right, good. I don't have to keep watching him. He could just go to the potty. So then I had put on underwears, right? He was fine with that. But then off guard, he did something in his underwear. So now I felt like I had to go back. When I picked him up from daycare, I always hold his hand walking home. But you could tell he want to run. Like, he want to run a little bit on the side of me or something. So I'm like, all right, let me let his hand go, right? Just to see if he'll come back. So I was basically testing if he was a runaway or he'll listen when I come back. So I'll let him run and I'll be like, stop. Come back. And I see him come back. I see him come back. He was doing this. And then one day I said, come back. He kept running. Come back, kept running.
You have to tie your shoes. You have to tie your shoes.
Right, he going towards the street. I'm like, all right, so now I gotta go back. Now I gotta hold your hand again. So it's like I'm wanting to do little stuff. Like I'll teach him a lot. How to cut on and on, how to cut off the air conditioner, how to cut on the air conditioner, but that became a problem because he kept pressing it.
He kept pushing it, right.
The elevator, I was trying to teach him the elevator, how to press the elevator.
All floors.
After that, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to teach him this, but
you opening a whole new door.
That's that behavior. They'll keep repeating,
I'm like, and then in my head, I'm like, if he go out the door, he's gonna go straight to that elevator. Like,
gosh.
He gonna be pressing all the buttons going on the floor. But I'm like, that's life. Like, I have to, I have to teach him this stuff.
You gotta keep approaching and stepping on those boundaries just to see how far they'll go. Find out where they are and push them a little bit further.
And even at the park, he goes on I don't know what you call it, but it's like you hold on and you got to put one foot on the other one. The other foot.
Monkey bars?
No, like if you miss your foot, you're gonna fall. It's like you walking across. It's like the bridge, but it's not the bridge. It's not together.
Is there a mat at the bottom? It sounds super dangerous.
There's a mat at the bottom.
Okay.
But you just put one foot on the other. You gotta put a foot on the other one. And he just walked on it like, and I'm watching him because he's playing on the bridge, but then he's walking towards that part, and my eyes like, let me walk towards that part. And I'm like, Carter, you gotta hold on, but he's walking so fast, and I'm like holding his hand, walking, because I'm scared that he's gonna fall, but I could see that he liked it because he keep going back and forth. I'm like, he'll get it, but I'm scared to let go because I'm like, I know you gotta feel the pain if you fall, but I don't want him to fall.
You never do. You never want your babies to get hurt. You never want them to cut themselves.
I think one thing that we don't give them enough credit for is their focus, right? Like they, even with being on the spectrum, they have a different type of focus that a lot of people don't have. Yeah, like they can block out. They get easily distracted, but when they're doing something that they really are into, they will block out everything.
Yeah.
And if you imagine if they find a passion in this world, to have that type of laser focus with, I don't care about girls, I don't care about partying, this is my focus. I'm gonna knock this out the park. If I can't knock this out, I can't stop until I finish it. That type of focus is next level. And I would say one scenario where Darius showed this as a baby. His toy rolls under the couch. He looks at me, he looks at my wife, we're looking at him like, what you gonna do? This little dude waddles out the room, comes back with the broom, slides it under the couch, pulls his toy out. Me and Shay looked at each other like, he gonna be all right. He gonna be all right. He gonna be all right because they have to go through certain stuff and challenge themselves to be able to fix stuff up. You can give them all the resources or whatever it is that you need, but at the end of the day, man, it's those moments, and those moments are always so new for us, right? They're level educationally at 9, maybe on a level of a 4 or 5-year-old, but they're doing things new. So for us, I love seeing him get a math equation right, because it's like, yo, you did it! Like that's awesome. Everything's a celebration with them when they do something good.
Yes, everything's a celebration. I get excited like a kid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm like, you did it. And Cameron's memory is amazing. Like his memory is amazing. But then, he still needs help in a lot of things. Like he struggles with the escalator. I'm still trying to get my son that's 12 years old, I hope everyone hears this, to go down an escalator. Like it's horrible. He's so scared. So scared. So I try to go to the malls when they open up really early, I'll try to get in there before everybody else does, just to work with him because he has to learn this. It's like a huge struggle for me. But I'm so thankful because my brothers and his cousin said they're going to work with him. And his cousin is his age, so I know he will follow him, and he will motivate him to get him on that escalator. So it's like, it's good and bad. It's the good and bad.
That's where the village come in, right?
Yeah.
That's where the village come in.
The strong village come and they help and they support.
Yeah, man. That is a fact. Oh man, I don't know. I think I got all my good questions out.
Yeah, me too.
I think I got nothing for you guys. You guys are awesome. Appreciate your time as always. Appreciate your time as always. Please let us know your socials, how people get in contact with you.
Oh, you go ahead, babe.
Hey, what?
I'm over here looking up mine saying, I'm trying to figure out. She
said, who am I?
I'm like, let me Google this real quick.
It's all good. The handles are gonna pop up at the bottom, but Kenny's just
I was just trying to get your voice out. So, it's all right.
Okay, well, I see mine now. My Instagram is Welcome to Cam's World, and you can actually click on the link in my bio if you would like to purchase our children's book.
Nice.
But that's our page, and we will be posting more this summer.
Yes. Miss Ebony.
Mine is Autism Mom _with_a_camera.
Sure.
I try to post a lot. I try.
Yeah, posting is a job on a low. Like, you know what I mean? If you have to do it frequently, or just to stay up to date, or it's a low-key part-time gig that don't pay well. But Yeah, you know what I mean? You got to stay on it just to be active, do what you got to do just to get the
I
word
also
out.
made a TikTok with the same name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to be in the TikTok world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Carter's videos
on
there.
TikTok is really fun. Yeah, I'm gonna make a TikTok too. I have a TikTok, but I think I'm gonna make one for Cameron too. We could do stuff.
Yeah, so many things, so many funny things just be going on. I'm like, yeah, TikTok.
Oh, and YouTube as well. I'm creating a YouTube channel, so I'll definitely share that the next time.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have several conversations because these kids are gonna keep on getting older, keep on going through the process, and hopefully at one of these conversations, society will have gotten better. Educational system will have gotten better, so we can have more good things to say when we speak next time. Oh man, but before we close out, ladies, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate your
once
time.
again, you gave us your time. We really appreciate it. You guys are awesome moms. And the fact that you're doing this while maintaining your own professional lives and everything that you do, it's awesome, man. And hopefully this conversation hit home with somebody where they found some resources or they just wanted to hear that somebody's going through the same thing they're going through. Right. Absolutely. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe link, whether you're on any platform watching or listening to us. Thank you again. And you are now released back into your regularly scheduled programming, corporate life, parental life, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that you do, we salute you. I'm Senor Lee.
Cashapp.
See you back next pay week when we lock back in to a free state of mind.